Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Tim Robbins. A portrait of a multifaceted artist. Tim Robbins is one of American cinema's most distinctive and enduring talents, an actor, director, screenwriter, producer, and activist whose career has consistently blended artistic ambition with social engagement. Known for his towering presence, thoughtful performances, and commitment to storytelling with substance, Robbins has shaped Hollywood in ways both visible and quietly influential. Early life and creative foundations. Born on October 16, 1958, in West Covina, California, Robbins grew up in a creative household. His father, Gil Robbins, was a musician and member of the folk group the Highwaymen, while his mother, Mary Robbins, was an actress. The family later moved to New York City, placing Robbins in the heart of American artistic culture from a young age. This environment cultivated his passion for theater. He began performing as a teenager and eventually studied drama at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. Shortly after, Robbins co-founded the Actors Gang, a theater company that became known for its experimental, politically charged productions, an early sign of his lifelong belief that performance and activism can coexist. Rise to stardom in film. Robbins first gained significant attention with supporting roles in the 1980s, but his breakthrough came with the baseball comedy, Bull Durham, 1988, where he played the charmingly reckless pitcher, Nuke LaLoosh. His blend of humor and charisma made him a standout alongside Kevin Costner and Susan Sarandon. Throughout the early 90s, Robbins cemented his status as a versatile actor. He delivered memorable performances in Jacob's Ladder, 1990, a psychological horror film that became a cult classic, and The Player, 1992. Robert Altman's satirical take on Hollywood that earned Robbins widespread acclaim as a leading man capable of nuanced, stylish humor. A defining role, The Shawshank Redemption in 1994. Robbins starred as Andy Dufresne in Frank Darabont's The Shawshank Redemption, now widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. His performance as the wrongly imprisoned banker whose quiet resilience transforms the lives of those around him became a benchmark in cinematic acting. Though the film was not a major box office hit upon release, it grew into a cultural phenomenon through critical praise, television broadcasts, and audience word of mouth. Robbins' portrayal remains one of the most celebrated in film history. Success behind the camera. Robbins is not only known for his acting. His directorial work has also earned respect. Particularly, Dead Man Walking, 1995, starring Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn. The film, which confronted the moral complexity of capital punishment, received glowing reviews and numerous accolades. Robbins himself earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Director. He continued exploring social and political themes with films such as Cradle Will Rock, 1999, focusing on art and resistance in 1930s America. His directorial choices consistently reflect a bold willingness to tackle challenging topics. An Academy Award and continued excellence. In 2003, Robbins won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his haunting performance in Clint Eastwood's Mystic River, playing a man traumatized by childhood abuse. Robbins brought emotional depth and vulnerability to the role, showcasing his dramatic power. Over the following decades, he continued acting in a mix of independent films, Hollywood productions, and television projects. Whether taking on politically charged roles like in Bob Roberts, or exploring dystopian storytelling in series like Here and Now, Robbins has remained committed to roles that challenge both himself and his audiences. Theater, music, and activism. Beyond film, Robbins has maintained strong ties to theater, continuing to guide the Actors Gang and advocate for arts education. The company has developed outreach programs, including performances and workshops in prisons, reflecting Robbins' long-standing dedication to social justice. He is also known for his activism in various political and humanitarian causes, speaking out on issues such as human rights, war, and criminal justice reform. This commitment has become an integral part of his public identity. A lasting legacy. Tim Robbins' career stands as a testament to artistic integrity. Whether on screen or behind the camera, he has consistently embraced depth, empathy, and courage in his creative choices. Few actors have balanced mainstream success, critical acclaim, and principled activism as effectively as Robbins. With decades of powerful work behind him and continued involvement in film and theater, Tim Robbins remains a vital and influential figure in American arts and culture, an artist who proves that storytelling can illuminate truth as much as it entertains. Expanding the legacy. Tim Robbins' continued impact on film, theater, and culture. A master of transformation on screen, Tim Robbins' acting style is marked by emotional intelligence, subtlety, and a willingness to embrace unconventional characters. He is equally comfortable portraying idealists, outsiders, morally conflicted figures, and everyday individuals caught in extraordinary circumstances. From the calm resolve of Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption to the disturbed and fragile Dave Boyle in Mystic River, Robbins has shown remarkable range. His tall frame and commanding presence often contrast with the gentleness or vulnerability of many of his characters, resulting in performances that feel deeply human and carefully layered. Other notable performances include The Hudsucker Proxy, 1994. Robbins delivered a charming, whimsical performance in the Coen brothers' stylish comedy, proving his talent for physical humor and satire. Arlington Road, 1999, a gripping thriller in which Robbins played a seemingly ordinary suburban neighbor with a dark secret. The Lucky Ones, 2008, he portrayed a soldier returning from war, exploring themes of trauma, reintegration, and friendship. Green Lantern, 2011. Though the film was divisive, Robbins' participation underscored his willingness to take on diverse projects. Actor, director, visionary writer. Tim Robbins' work behind the camera is as important as his acting career. His films often confront political and social issues, blending satire, humanism, and realism. Bob Roberts, 1992. This mockumentary, written, directed by, and starring Robbins, is a sharp political satire about a conservative folk singer turned politician. Its themes, media manipulation, political polarization, and celebrity-driven campaigns, were strikingly ahead of their time. Dead Man Walking, 1995, arguably his most acclaimed directorial effort. The film generated global conversation about capital punishment. It showcased his ability to balance emotional storytelling with ethical inquiry. Susan Sarandon's performance earned her an Oscar for Best Actress. Cradle Will Rock, 1999, a sweeping ensemble film set during the Great Depression. It explores labor rights, artistic freedom, and political oppression. Robbins wove together multiple storylines, demonstrating his ambition and artistry as a filmmaker. Documentary and theater work. Robbins has also directed documentaries and countless theater productions through The Actors Gang, often addressing themes of justice, inequality, and social change. The Actors Gang, a cultural force founded in 1981, The Actors Gang began as a small experimental troupe in Los Angeles but has grown into a major institution. Robbins' leadership helped shape its identity, combining avant-garde traditions with contemporary political commentary. Some highlights of the company's work include bold reinterpretations of classics, often infused with modern social issues. Original plays using heightened physicality and absurdist influences. The Prison Project, an initiative offering acting workshops to incarcerated individuals, aimed at emotional expression, conflict resolution, and reducing recidivism. This program has been widely praised and studied for its positive impact, showcasing Robbins' belief in the transformative power of the arts. Humanitarian and political engagement. Robbins has long been an outspoken advocate on issues including anti-war efforts, human rights, environmental protection, criminal justice reform, arts accessibility. While his activism has sometimes made him a polarizing figure, Robbins has consistently emphasized that artists have a responsibility to speak their truth and engage with the world around them. Personal life. Tim Robbins was famously in a long-term relationship with actress Susan Sarandon. The pair met while filming Bull Durham and were together for over 2 decades, becoming one of Hollywood's most admired intellectual power couples. Although they separated in 2009, they remain respected figures known for their artistry and activism. Robbins has 3 children, including musician Miles Robbins and filmmaker Jack Henry Robbins, both of whom have pursued creative careers, an extension of the family's artistic tradition. Later career and recent work. In the 2010s and 2020s, Robbins continued to expand his craft across film and television. He appeared in Here and Now 2018, a philosophical HBO drama series exploring multiculturalism and identity. Castle Rock 2019, a psychological horror series inspired by Stephen King's works, marking Robbins' return to the haunting atmospheres that shaped Shawshank and Jacob's Ladder. Independent projects, where he often seeks character-driven narratives and socially conscious themes. He also continues to direct and produce theater, mentor young artists, and collaborate on projects that emphasize creativity and community. A timeless influence. Tim Robbins' influence extends well beyond iconic roles or awards. He represents a rare blend of artistry, intellect, and courage, an artist unafraid to challenge norms, provoke conversation, and advocate for a more just society. He has demonstrated that success in Hollywood does not have to come at the expense of integrity. Instead, Robbins proves that a career can be both commercially successful and deeply meaningful. Conclusion. Tim Robbins is not just an actor or director, he is a storyteller in every sense of the word. Whether through unforgettable film performances, daring directorial choices, or passionate social engagement, he has left an indelible mark on modern culture. His work continues to inspire audiences, filmmakers, and performers around the world, cementing his place as one of the most significant and multifaceted artists of his generation. Tim Robbins. A deeper exploration of an extraordinary artistic journey. An actor driven by curiosity and intention. Tim Robbins' career cannot be understood simply by listing his roles. It is defined by the intention behind his choices. Throughout 4 decades in the entertainment industry, Robbins has consistently gravitated toward projects that challenge conventions, ask difficult questions, or explore human complexity. He has said in various interviews that he seeks roles allowing him to explore compassion, struggle, and inner truth, a philosophy visible in his diverse performances, heroes and anti-heroes, characters scarred by trauma, quiet, introspective figures, satirical or darkly comedic roles. His characters often embody moral ambiguity, inviting audiences to reflect rather than simply watch. Key collaborations that shaped his career. Working with Robert Altman. Robbins' performance in The Player, 1992, became one of his defining roles. in part due to his partnership with renowned director Robert Altman. Altman's improvisational, free-flowing style allowed Robbins to bring a nuanced, darkly humorous portrayal of a Hollywood executive caught in a web of deception. Clint Eastwood and Mystic River Eastwood's spare, emotionally charged direction provided Robbins with the space to deliver one of the most haunting performances of his career. The collaboration earned him Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, Golden Globe Award, Screen Actors Guild Award partnership with Susan Sarandon. Although their romantic relationship ended, their artistic collaboration produced some of Robbins' most meaningful work. Sarandon's performance in Dead Man Walking remains one of the most powerful of her career, and Robbins' direction earned global praise. The Actors Gang Ensemble. Robbins has repeatedly emphasized that ensemble work, collaboration, and collective creativity shaped him more deeply than Hollywood ever did. His decades of work with the Actors Gang continue to influence his film direction and acting style. Honors, awards, and recognition throughout his career, Robbins has received numerous accolades celebrating both his acting and humanitarian efforts. Academy Award, 2004, Best Supporting Actor for Mystic River, Golden Globe Award, Screen Actors Guild Award, Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Actor for the Player Humanitas Prize for Dead Man Walking, numerous theater awards through the Actors Gang, national recognition for his prison arts programs. In addition, Robbins has been invited to speak at universities, film festivals, and conferences worldwide, underscoring his stature not just as an entertainer but as a public intellectual. Philosophy on art and activism. Robbins has long argued that art is inseparable from society. For him, creative expression is a tool for exposing injustice, exploring emotional truth, encouraging empathy, provoking public dialogue. He frequently references how theater can transform both performers and audiences, offering a rare, shared human experience in an increasingly digital and divided world. His activism is not performative, it is rooted in decades of community engagement, including peace and anti-war movements, education initiatives, humanitarian causes, prison justice reform, voter engagement campaigns. His work in prisons, often cited as among the most meaningful of his life, focuses on helping incarcerated individuals access self-expression, emotional awareness, and rehabilitation through the arts. Behind the scenes, Robbins as a mentor and leader. Robbins is known for supporting young filmmakers, actors, and playwrights. Through the Actors Gang, he has helped launch careers, provided affordable performance opportunities, and created a space for artists focused on social change. He also teaches workshops and gives lectures about acting technique, creative discipline, social responsibility in art, building meaningful careers instead of merely successful ones. Many young actors credit Robbins with helping them develop confidence, artistic identity, and political awareness. Later career highlights and continuing evolution. Despite already having a legendary career, Robbins continues to explore new territory, television dramas and psychological series, such as Here and Now and Castle Rock, independent films with strong social commentary, theatrical productions merging experimental performance with contemporary issues, documentary involvement, particularly on justice and art programs, music collaborations. Connecting back to his family's folk roots, his voice remains steady and influential in cultural discussions about the role of art in society. Tim Robbins' enduring cultural impact. A new definition of a Hollywood career. Robbins stands as a counterexample to traditional Hollywood stardom. He rarely embraces the spotlight for its own sake and often chooses artistic integrity over commercial comfort. A champion of the ensemble approach. Unlike many actors who distance themselves from theater after finding success in film, Robbins has remained deeply committed to the stage. His leadership of the Actors Gang has created lasting social programs and trained generations of performers. A model of socially conscious art through satire, drama, and activism. Robbins demonstrates the power of storytelling to illuminate truth and advocate for justice. A multi-generational influence. Younger filmmakers and actors often cite Robbins' willingness to take risks and make principled choices as an inspiration that helps shape their own creative lives. Final perspective. Tim Robbins is far more than the sum of his awards and iconic roles. He is an artist who sees storytelling as a form of service, a way to cultivate empathy, spark conversation, and create community. His work across film, theater, and activism reflects a lifelong commitment to understanding the human condition. In an industry often driven by trends and superficiality, Robbins stands out as a timeless figure, thoughtful, courageous, and unafraid to challenge both himself and the world around him. Tim Robbins, a deeper, comprehensive portrait of a modern creative icon exploring his acting technique, the craft beneath the performances. Tim Robbins is known for an acting style shaped by discipline, empathy, and immersion. He often approaches characters with a method-like dedication, though he has never explicitly aligned himself with any single acting school. Instead, his technique blends 1. Emotional restraint. Robbins is a master of quiet power. In roles like Andy Dufresne, The Shawshank Redemption, or Michael Berg, Eric the Viking, he conveys immense internal struggle through minimal movement, small expressions, and subtle shifts in tone. 2. Physical presence. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches, 196 centimeters. Robbins' physical stature can dominate a scene, yet he frequently plays against this strength. Many roles feature him as gentle, wounded, or introspective, creating a nuanced contrast between his size and his emotional delicacy. 3. Psychological depth. Robbins digs for the emotional engine of a character, trauma, as in Mystic River, moral conflict, as in Dead Man Walking, as a director, or spiritual questioning, as in Jacob's Ladder. This internal excavation gives his performances their haunting resonance. 4. Intelligence-driven roles. Many of Robbins' characters are thinkers, philosophers, strategists, outsiders, or analytical observers. He excels at roles requiring intellectual tension or moral complexity. Influences and artistic roots. Robbins has frequently cited inspirations from both classic and contemporary artists. Bertolt Brecht, whose political theater influenced the early style of the Actors Gang. Jerzy Grotowski, particularly his ideas on physicality and ensemble discipline. Robert Altman, whose collaborative filmmaking shaped Robbins' belief in creative freedom. Folk music culture, inherited from his father, which inspired much of Bob Roberts. These influences created a style that blends political awareness, ensemble ethics, and emotional truth. Behind the camera, directorial philosophy and visual style. As a director, Tim Robbins is known for certain trademarks. 1. Moral inquiry. Every Robbins-directed film contains a deep question. Should the state have the right to execute its citizens? What is the role of art in times of political oppression? How do individuals confront guilt or redemption? He challenges audiences not to agree with him, but to engage with complexity. 2. Realism mixed with theatricality. Robbins brings his theater roots into cinema. Long takes, ensemble scenes, overlapping dialogue, symbolic staging. He often uses music as a narrative device, reflecting his musical upbringing. 3. Social consciousness. Whether in Bob Roberts' Dead Man Walking or Cradle Will Rock, Robbins' films examine power structures, human rights, and the resilience of the human spirit. The Actors Gang. More than a theater company, Robbins' work with the Actors Gang represents one of the most impactful yet under-recognized contributions of his career. Art as Rehabilitation. The group's prison program has become a landmark in arts-based rehabilitation. Inmates engage in structured movement, emotional expression, and improvisation. The program fosters empathy, communication skills, and conflict resolution. Several studies show significant reductions in disciplinary incidents and recidivism for participants. Robbins often leads workshops himself, showing his direct commitment, not just administrative support. Political theater for modern audiences. The Actors Gang continually stages works addressing war, poverty, censorship, corruption, human dignity. Robbins believes theater should be a mirror to society, not a distraction from it. Media perception and public presence. Tim Robbins is unique among Hollywood icons in his relationship with the media. A thoughtful public speaker, he is articulate, philosophical, and unapologetically political. His speeches often touch on the ethics of storytelling, civil liberties, the responsibilities of artists, the spiritual value of creativity. A reluctant celebrity despite fame, Robbins avoids typical Hollywood publicity. He rarely courts press, dislikes superficial interviews, and often prefers to discuss ideas rather than personal details. This approach has earned him a reputation as a serious, cerebral figure in modern cinema. Humanitarian work and global outreach. Robbins' humanitarian contributions include speaking at global peace conferences, supporting refugee aid initiatives, advocating for veterans and mental health programs, participating in fundraising for arts education, supporting disaster relief efforts, championing free speech and human rights causes. His activism is broad but grounded in a consistent principle: the belief in human dignity and the power of empathy. Modern career, reinvention, and legacy. Even in his 60s, Robbins continues to take on new challenges. Embracing streaming-era storytelling, Castle Rock, The Brink, Here and Now, returning to theater, directing, post-pandemic writing, new political satire projects, mentoring young actors and filmmakers, participating in global discussions on art and freedom. Cultural legacy. Tim Robbins leaves behind a legacy defined by one of the greatest performances in modern film, Shawshank, one of the most important social justice films, Dead Man Walking, a pioneering political satire, Bob Roberts, a transformative theater company, deep humanitarian engagement, a body of work that values principle over spectacle. He stands as a model for artists who want to blend creativity, conscience, and courage. Tim Robbins, an even broader, more immersive portrait of a remarkable artist. Early influences. The formation of a creative mind. Tim Robbins' artistic foundation was laid long before he entered Hollywood. A childhood surrounded by art, growing up in a household that valued expression and intellectual curiosity, Robbins was exposed to folk music rehearsals, political conversations, poetry readings, community theater, and New York's cultural landscape. These experiences shaped a worldview in which art is a language, not an accessory. The high school years. At Stuyvesant High School in Manhattan, Robbins was active in drama clubs and wrote early plays. Exposure to New York's off-Broadway scene introduced him to experimental techniques, absurdist theater, and socially conscious performance. UCLA and the birth of a theater revolutionary. At UCLA, Robbins found like-minded artists hungry to break traditional boundaries. Together, they founded the Actors Gang, a company that would become a cornerstone of his life. Many young performers from this era recall Robbins as deeply serious about rehearsal, unusually well-read, politically aware, and emotionally perceptive. From this point onward, Robbins was not just an actor, he was a creator. Breakthrough years. Rising in Hollywood without losing his values. The 1980s. Comedy, satire, and emerging identity. Early roles such as in Top Gun, 1986, and Howard the Duck, 1986, positioned Robbins within the Hollywood system, but he quickly sought roles with more depth. Bull Durham, 1988, A Star is Born. As the young, unpredictable pitcher Ebby Nuke Lelouch, Robbins became instantly recognizable. The film worked because Robbins infused a potentially goofy character with vulnerability and warmth. Hollywood noticed. Directors saw a big actor with brains. Producers saw a future leading man. And Robbins saw possibility. 3. The 1990s, the decade that defined him. Jacob's Ladder, 1990, psychological bravery. This deeply unsettling film demanded emotional intensity. Robbins created a character both fragile and profound, contributing to one of the most influential psychological thrillers ever made. The Player, 1992, satire at its finest. Robbins delivered a career-defining performance as Griffin Mill, a slick but insecure Hollywood executive. The film became iconic for its legendary opening tracking shot, its savage skewering of Hollywood behavior, and Robbins' charismatic, darkly comic performance. Bob Roberts, 1992. A landmark in political cinema. Playing a charismatic, guitar-playing populist, Robbins predicted the future of political media manipulation decades before it became reality. The film still feels startlingly relevant today. The Shawshank Redemption, 1994, immortality on film. Tim Robbins created one of cinema's most beloved characters, Andy Dufresne. What made his performance timeless? Stillness, dignity, endurance, emotional faith, and a quiet moral power. The role will stand for generations. Directorial triumph. Dead Man Walking, 1995, this film marked Robbins as a major director. He handled the story with empathy, moral nuance, and restraint. IV. Behind the scenes. How Robbins works on set. Actors who have worked with Robbins often describe him as methodical. He prepares extensively, studying emotional roots, physical behavior, and philosophical motivations. Empathetic. He listens deeply to scene partners, adjusting performance to elevate the entire ensemble. Collaborative. He welcomes improvisation, ideas, and unexpected choices. Quietly intense. He doesn't dominate through ego, he leads through presence and commitment. Crew members frequently note how Robbins thanks every department personally, maintains calm under pressure, and keeps morale high. This professionalism has earned him universal respect. Versus themes that run through his work across acting and directing, Robbins returns to several key themes. 1. Justice and injustice. Whether in Dead Man Walking, Shawshank, or his prison arts work, Robbins examines moral and legal systems deeply. 2. Abuse of power. Films like Bob Roberts and Cradle Will Rock confront political and cultural authority. 3.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.